PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has taken the gaming world by storm. While it's hard to really explain why, because there's so many people who hate it and then go right back, there's certainly an appeal to the whole Battle Royale aspect of the game. For those who simply can't stop playing but still get frustrated, let's look at 15 things hardcore fans hate about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Remember, even with all of these flaws, the game is in early access and still sees constant updates. Plus, it is fun at times. So don't let that put you off trying it now or further down the line. Campers. You encounter what seems to be an empty house. You don't know if someone is close by, but you're still alert. You open that door, walk in aware, and still get gunned down by a camper out of your view. And yes, even with the third-person view active. It hurts in just about any game to die to a camper, but when you're among the 50 remaining players alive and climbing steadily, it can sting all the more in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Hackers. Aimbots, map hacks, increased speed. Like every online game, PUBG has its fair share of hackers. The problem is frustrated by the fact that even though the game is in early access, it's still very popular. So the developer has to figure out how to divert resources to deal with the hackers and cheaters while still pushing out required updates. Make no mistake though, hackers are an issue and one that Bluehole is pushing to fight. Toxicity. Okay, we get it. That guy killed you because he was camping in a building. Maybe he was lying prone in the grass and sniped you by chance. But getting extremely angry about it and resorting to hate speech? Yeah, that's not cool. Unsurprisingly, given the random nature of pickups, the overall tension of being the sole survivor and battling the game itself, toxicity rears its ugly head from time to time. Solo players teaming up. Even in games like PUBG, with dedicated solo queues where players can't team up, it's still annoying to see them still attempt as much here. On the one hand, it leads to moments where players have to decide when to betray each other, since only one can live. On the other, it doesn't make for a very compelling experience to those who don't want to deal with coordinated squads in solo queue. Hit detection issues. Ever tried shooting through a window only for the windowsill to effectively catch that bullet? How about those shots not registering on players? Hit detection is a major issue with PUBG to an extent that you can be up close and personal with a shotgun only to find your shots not registering. Early access and all that jazz, yeah, I get it, but it's still annoying. Lag. Then of course there's the lag and desyncing. The desyncing is what causes many of the hit detection issues, but lag can result in certain actions cropping up too late. You could suddenly kneel over and die when you thought you survived an encounter, for example. It also doesn't help when lag prevents you from drawing your weapon or even picking up items. Then there's the rubber banding. Let's not talk about the rubber banding. Almost reaching first place. You probably haven't had it happen in every game, but there have been times where you or your squad were close. You almost won it all, for the first time ever, crushing all of the opposition. However, like that last run in Dead Cells or The Binding of Isaac, even with all of the right items and enemies, you still failed. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but getting so close and losing it all just plain stings. Frame rate drops. PUBG can be an extremely demanding game for early access. While some players haven't faced any performance issues on their big beefy rigs, others have reported wildly fluctuating frame rates. You can be running along fine at 60 plus frames, only for it to randomly drop to 10 while reloading. Frame drops in gunfights are pretty much lethal, which is another annoyance. RNG loot. Like other Battle Royale style games, PUBG is all about the loot you find. Maybe you'll find a Scar H, tons of equipment and first aid, and some sweet armor. Of course, it's also possible for you to find nothing but pistols and ammunition for guns that you don't own. Sometimes the odds are never in your favor, and while that provides much of the thrill, having a shotgun while all of your foes have sniper rifles and ghillie suits is more frustrating than not. No name change. Sure, this may not be the tippity top on the list of changes required, but still, no name changing? Really? Granted, the developer has already said that it will be implemented down the road. Still, being unable to change your name and being recognized as, say, Sir Squeaker Noob or something much more offensive while playing the game can be a problem. Only one map. currently. Queuing as a solo, duo, or group can alter the dynamic of matches well enough. However, currently PUBG boasts only one map, though 2 more maps are being worked on, one set in the desert and the other in an Arctic region. But if you're sick of the current map, its spawns, the overall size, and just how it's balanced overall, you're going to have to wait for some new ones. Third-person cheesing. This is a somewhat valid criticism, especially given the field of view that third-person view provides. Why stick to first-person perspective except for shooting when third-person offers so much more visibility for checking behind corners and underneath stairs? Developer Bluehole is addressing this with first-person only servers in the coming months, so this won't be hated for long. Memory leak. Players have also complained about memory leaks where the game is consuming way more RAM than necessary to properly run. Granted, the RAM requirements are somewhat hefty at 6 gigs, but using as much memory as it does, resulting in a crash is hardly ideal when going for that #1 spot. User interface. We've said multiple times that the game is in early access, but still the hilarity of going back to the opening credits, menu screen, and then starting matchmaking again from scratch is something else altogether. While the jury is still out on whether players should be able to see what consumables and grenades they have without going into their inventory, there's no denying that the UI and quality of life features need some polishing. Crashes. Just when you thought being close to #1 and losing or dying to a camper or dealing with the gank squads and so on and so forth was bad, it's worse when the game crashes. Losing all of that progress just because the game's instability is a major blow, and well, you did sign up for early access, so it's hard to really hate on it, so just casually break something and then re-queue. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Bolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.